Good morning and welcome to this Monday morning. Not sure what time you all get up, but I put it out early just so it's there waiting for you. The daily Devo is waiting for you. It's January the 5th today, and Sundays I skip whatever day falls on that day, and because I'm uploading a whole sermon, so no need for a 5 minute devotion thrown in there, I guess. This today's is entitled "The Difference of Grace." And the verses quoted are Ephesians 2 8 and 9. For it is by grace you have been saved through faith. And this is not from yourselves, this is the gift of God, not by works, so no one can boast. There is then a great gulf. This is Tim Keller now starting to weigh in on this. There is then a great gulf between the understanding that God accepts us because of our efforts and the understanding that God accepts us because of what Jesus has done. Religion operates on the principle I obey, therefore I am accepted by God. But the operating principle of the gospel is I am accepted by God through what Christ has done, therefore I obey. Two people living their lives on the basis of these two different principles may sit next to each other in the church pew. They both pray, give money generously, and are loyal and faithful to their family and church, trying to live decent lives. However, they do so out of two radically different motivations, in two radically different spiritual identities. Result is two radically different kinds of lives. The primary difference is that of motivation. In religion, we try to obey the divine standards out of fear. We believe that if we don't obey, we are going to lose God's blessing in this world and the next. In the gospel, the motivation is one of gratitude for the blessing we have already received because of Christ. While the moralist is forced into obedience, motivated by fear of rejection, a Christian rushes into obedience, motivated by a desire to please and resemble the one who gave his life for us. Now, the devotion that had yesterday's date on it was entitled Avoiding Jesus Through Religion. And so obviously that one led into this one today. Uh, but I think we understand the point that was being made, would have been made in yesterday's, that we think that keeping the rules is the way to heaven. And the reality is, if we look at our scriptures, obeying perfectly God's law is an impossibility for us. We're weak. Human beings are weak. We can't measure up on our own to all the things that God requires of his people. Israel never did do that. They had the law. They had that history of the law and how much God cared for them and how he blessed them and how he led them and how he provided for them. But even knowing all of that about God, they could not and did not keep God's law. So if we're looking to get ourselves into heaven by thinking we can keep all the rules, we're going to be sadly surprised at that. And a lot of people live that kind of life. They think they'll get into heaven out of their good deeds, out of their good works. And that is a trick of the devil. That is something he likes to do so that on that day he'll get to laugh at all those who thought they could get into heaven without claiming the blood of Christ for their sins. It's a tricky thing, and we need to understand that, and we need to understand verses like we read here in Ephesians 2. We are saved by grace and not by any of our own works. There's going to be no room for boasting. Jesus tells a story of those who come to heaven. Lord, don't we did this and we did that and we accomplished that. And all that gets is, I didn't even know you because you were doing that on your own strength. So those things are going to fail. And we need to let people know that. We need to share that. When we hear somebody talking about, oh, I'm going to heaven because here's a list of all the good deeds I do. And the word is pretty clear. We're not getting in our own works. And that's an important message for us to share. For us to dwell upon ourselves, as well as to make sure if we hear somebody leaning in that direction, we take them to the scripture and we make sure they understand it's only by the grace of God that we get into heaven. So blessings today on this Monday. Hopefully it's a good Monday. I know Monday gets a bad rep, but sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's okay. Blessings to you today.